Welcome to another In Wheel Time podcast, a 30-minute mini version of the In Wheel Time car show that airs live every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central. Live, it's the In Wheel Time car talk show. Coming up, HADA President, Chairman of the Board, Mr. Joe Chastain is going to be with us. Konrad will have the In Wheel Time Car Clinic, and I'll bring you this week's auto news. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars, King Konrad Delong. We always need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Thanks so much for joining on this Saturday. And joining us right now is a fellow that you may have heard of the name. Now, you might not know about the dealership. It's Chastain Ford. Joe Chastain's with us. Joe, good morning to you.
Morning. How are y'all doing?
Well, we're doing pretty good. You're probably thinking, what in the world have I gotten myself into here with these guys at In Wheel Time? So, Joe, you're chairman of the Houston Automobile Dealers Association, and that's a pretty prestigious title that you've got and a lot of responsibility because you kind of head up all the dealers in town and try to keep everybody on the same page. And you also have a Ford dealership, but it kind of flies under the radar for the general public. So tell us a little bit about, first of all, if you don't mind, Chastain Ford.
Well, we're right out of downtown, but nobody knows where we're at. We're in a real commercial place. We're right off of 59, the East X Freeway, and 610 North.
Yep.
But it's mostly commercial businesses over there. We do retail and commercial, but the biggest portion of our business is commercial trucks.
Right. So you sell the white Ford F-150s as a fleet vehicle. And I understand that you sell a bajillion of them, for lack of a specific number.
I wouldn't say that, but we sell a lot, and we sell the Super Duties, the 650s, 750s, 450s, 550s. We sell a lot of vans, a little bit of everything. And our core customer is small to medium-sized Houston-based businesses, but we also sell large companies and we sell to individuals. And our sales will kind of skew different than a normal Ford dealer. A normal Ford dealer will sell a two-wheel drive F-150 XLT in different colors. We probably do worse in that truck than we do in anything else, where we'll sell the owners and managers of the companies, the Lariats, the King Ranches, Platinums. So we skew real high and real low in the scheme of things.
I bet you the folks up there at Dearborn are going, what kind of a model is this? Because it's so unusual, at least for me.
It is totally different. It's really good because we don't experience the real highs when the retail market is really, really good, but we also don't experience the real lows. We do a lot of government business too. We sell a lot of cities and stuff all over Texas.
Joe, how did you get into doing this fleet stuff and wholesaling kind of the Ford product?
My dad sold vehicles, and so I started off working in the parts department of a Chevy dealership in town when I was in high school.
What Chevy dealership was that?
It was Mike Persia Chevrolet.
Buy your Chevrolet from Persia, Mike Persia Chevrolet. Right. Sorry, had to go there.
McKinney and LaBranch.
Yes.
And, long time ago, and then I worked for Marvin Rush, who owned Superior Trucks and Trucks of Texas in Houston for a long time, and we were a Peterbilt and GMC dealer, and so I just kind of gravitated towards that. Then the first dealership I owned was a Volvo heavy truck dealership. I'd done the big over-the-road 18-wheelers. Yep. And also small trucks.
So your location over there off of 610 on the east side of 59 is perfect.
It is.
Because that is such a commercial part of the city with people that you're close to sell vehicles and service their vehicles for them.
I was thinking the same thing.
Location couldn't be better
right.
for you.
And we're really close for everybody because when most people, a lot of our customers never come to the dealership, but when a vendor or a customer comes over there, they get there quicker than they think because we're right out of downtown. we're not that far from anybody. And and it's starting to redevelop with Buffalo Bio East End. They're going to start, more people are going to be living over by, so our retail business should pick up. And, I grew up off Telephone Road, so I know a lot about the East End.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of really good small companies over there.
So I was going to ask, how many units do you have on your lot, and do you have pre-owned as well?
We have pre-owned, but we don't have a lot because we're real constricted. I've only got 6 acres where I'm at, and part of that is a retention pond. Then I've got another lot that I've got 3 acres where we keep a storage lot for a lot of our commercial units because we're way too crowded where we are. And we'll have, it varies so much on our inventory. We probably got maybe 100 units in stock right now. We'll normally, sell, a lot of ours are orders. Like we sell Centerpoint, City of Houston, Waste Management. So a lot of bigger companies and they'll order. Small companies buy out of stock. So we've got to have vehicles in them with bodies on them, because a lot of this stuff we sell is a cabin chassis and it doesn't have a body on it. So we'll have to guess what people are going to buy, and we'll stock units with bodies already on them because any more companies can't wait for you to order one and get a body put on it. So
yeah, everybody wants it now.
It's been a couple of years ago. I used to go to some meetings with John Smith, your parts manager, and you guys are very well known in Houston for having a wonderful parts operation as well to serve the independent community.
Right. We do a lot of parts business. We don't do a lot of, some of the dealerships specialize and do a really good job with body parts, but we're constricted on our space and don't have enough room for that. We do mainly mechanical parts.
Gotcha. Let's go back to the new stuff that you've got. So I'm thinking right now, as you mentioned, City of Houston, Centerpoint Energy, white single cab, maybe a double cab, F-150, and does it even have an AM radio in it?
Yeah, the company trucks are a lot nicer than they used to be.
So you don't have any that have like heater delete and no radio anymore.
Rubber floor.
Companies don't do that, or they can't get anybody to drive them.
Right. So your trucks have air conditioning. They have AM and FM radio in them, and they're comfortable trucks with a bench seat in the front, I assume.
Right. And a lot of them will have power windows and locks.
Yeah. Do they even make crank windows anymore?
They make them, but not many people get them.
I just going to say, yeah, exactly. So, okay, I got an idea of all that. Well, I wanted to establish who you are for everybody that normally watches our show. The Chastang Ford isn't more at top of mind, and that's not a put down at all because you've got your own thing going.
It's focus.
Yeah. But let's talk for a minute and shift gears and talk about HADA. And I assume that you've been a member of HADA for as long as you've been alive, pretty much. And, it's a great organization. They put on a wonderful car show, Houston Auto Show every year that's actually transitioned and is changing as we talk because the pandemic really put a different twist on car shows, new car shows. And how would you say that HADA did this year?
HADA's done really good. We've not missed an auto show, and Wyatt, our president, does a great job with it. And our auto show is way better attended and put on and a better show than some other cities around that have really struggled with their auto shows. And I think one of the things is the ride and drive.
Yes.
And we've got, even in January in Houston, we've got good weather where, it's fine to go and look. Some people, that's all they want to do. But a lot of people, you want to ride and drive different kind of vehicles within 5 minutes. I mean, no matter if you're looking at, a Ford or a Chevy or a Ram, you can look at all of them in 5 or 10 minutes inside of there, then go drive. So that's what makes the Houston Auto Show way better than most of the other shows.
And that
Not
continues.
all the other shows do that.
And Joe, that continues to expand every year. It seems to get bigger and bigger.
All the manufacturers say that some of the manufacturers are getting out of other auto shows, but most of them have stayed in our show. And I think the ride and drive part is the best thing. And we've adapted to changing conditions. I think this year we're getting, in fact, I know for sure we're going to have more space than we did. We started doing it with the boat show when COVID and some of that stuff happened.
Right.
And so you can look at a new boat, new pickup to pull it of any kind that you want. So we're changing with the way the times are.
Yeah, exactly. And, the manufacturers have changed the way that they display their vehicles, and some of them don't even show anymore for whatever reason.
Or limited.
Very limited. And because you almost are forced to, some of the dealers have had to step up to have displays at the car show because the manufacturers don't.
No, you're exactly right. Some of especially the smaller manufacturers,
yes,
not the GM or the Fords or the Stellantis, but some of the other ones have elected to not be in any shows for whatever reason, which I think is a big mistake. So their dealers have had to step up and do it. But we still have really good participation, even in the smaller brands or the luxury brands. Sometimes they're the smaller brands. So.
Yeah. Let's talk about sales in the Houston area. How are things going among the dealers currently with the fluctuating, the change, the downturn in the economy and that sort of thing?
I don't think we've seen a downturn in the economy in Houston. And I think if we see anything, it's going to be very small. The dealers are doing very well. And it's a better thing for the consumer right now than it has been because we're finally starting to get inventories in. And some of they called it chip shortage, but I think it was a overall commodity shortage. And so if you look now, like if you want an F-150, there's a lot more F-150s all over Houston, or the Chevrolet brand, or the Ram, or the Toyota, or any of the vehicles. You're seeing vehicles on dealers' lots, whereas 2 years ago, we looked like we had parking lots that didn't have anybody parked in them.
Mm-hmm. And saw a lot of concrete.
Right. And that now, so I think it's a better deal for the consumer because if you don't have anything to pick from, the prices are going to be higher. And the Houston dealers are like, we'll go out to dinner with each other, but we're real competitive with each other, whether it's intra or inter brand. And so the more vehicles on the lot mean the consumer's going to get a better deal of whatever brand he's going to buy. And there's great dealers in Houston.
Are the incentives
every kind of brand?
Are the incentives coming back? I see a little bit more of that on some of the commercials.
Yeah, as the day's supply goes up, the manufacturers are saying we're not going to do incentives. All of them are saying that. They're gonna, because if they lose a 1/10 of a point of market share, those guys are going to lose their job. So what do you expect them to do?
Yeah.
There's not as many incentives as there used to be, but there's still going to be incentives, especially on certain models. As you see vehicles stack up of any kind, like specialty vehicles, our Raptors and stuff, there's not going to be incentives on that, or the Broncos yet. But like F-150, yeah, there's incentives. There'll be finance incentives, and it's going to be or money off the hood, one or the other.
Yeah, we kind of created an expectation. Buyers just kind of look for that now, just like, Jeff was asking. It's just something that the market seems to have adopted, whether you like it or not.
Joe, what about financing these days? What are you seeing as far as changes are concerned here in the Houston area with financing? Rates
are going up, credit's getting tighter, but there's also, I know with us, I can't speak to some of the other brands, but there's finance incentives on a lot of the vehicles. They're doing that instead of just money off. You can get either one, but a lot of times the finance incentive is a better deal.
How is the EV push, the move to go electric, impacting your side of the fleet business?
Thinking the same thing.
Some of the bigger companies. Okay, now this is a personal opinion. The EV stuff isn't going to go as fast as everybody says because there's a lot of unintended consequences. Like if you live in an apartment, where are you charging it?
Right.
And the hot and the cold, or if you're pulling something. The companies can control it better. And I think you're going to see more companies have a bigger percentage of EVs than individuals, in my opinion, because they know how far that vehicle goes every day. They're not using it to go back and forth to Dallas or Austin on the weekends and things like that, that I think it's more controllable. But I think you're going to have more EVs. The battery stuff's going to get better as we go, but it's not going to happen as fast as some people have said. You know, a long time ago, people said, oh, everybody's going to lease. Well, that didn't happen. Leasing is good for some people. It's not good for everybody. EVs are going to be the same exact way.
Yeah, and Ford kind of bet the bank there for quite a while on the red carpet lease, and it was quite successful for a period of time, but it has waned its notoriety.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about a lease, you're appraising a used vehicle 3 years from now. Good luck on that.
Yeah, we've seen how that's worked with the used car market here in the past couple of years. Yeah,
but that's what you've got to appraise that vehicle for 3 years from now. So it's not for everybody. And mileage, and the way we put miles on vehicles, most people in Houston, you put a lot of miles. Well, if you put a lot of miles, normally leasing isn't the best thing. If you know how many, or somebody changes job, they go from not driving many miles to driving a lot. Then the lease was okay when they weren't driving many. Now they are. It isn't as good. They get upside down in the vehicle. So there's just, you need to deal with a dealer that throws everything out and explains everything to you so that the consumer understands. And most of the dealers will do that, but you've got to ask questions.
yeah.
Yep.
Right.
How is it getting employees at a dealership these days?
Getting good employees, like in any business, is really, really tough. But you have to make sure that you treat if you want your customers to be treated well, you've got to treat your employees really well. I think it's like that with almost any business, but
Good
especially
point.
in the dealership, because, most of us, some of our dealerships, the hours aren't the very best, and you can make good money. A lot of our people are paid on incentives, whether it's be part salesmen, technicians, the salespeople, the sales managers. So you need to make sure you're treating your people well. But it's like any other business. It's really hard. But once people get in working in a dealership, they really like it. And so they normally don't leave. They stay doing that. As long as you treat them good, you're going to keep them.
That's right.
And you represent a good brand.
I want to buy a Ford F-150 Platinum. Want to order it from the factory. Would you take my order?
Probably.
He knows you more than
He
you
was
think.
doing the calculations in his head. I saw the numbers.
It depends anymore, depending on the vehicle. F-150s, yes, we can take orders and get them built. Like a Super Duty, we were allocated so many for the year in our retail stuff, and the customers were allocated on, I think it was an average of what they bought the last 4 or 5 years. And so we were limited on what we could do. And then the order bank would open, they'd get all the orders really quick, and it would close within a week or two.
Oh, my.
So, I've been doing this over 50 years. It's never been like that. I don't think it'll ever be like this again, I hope. But it's just a different time.
Yeah.
And it isn't going to last like that. They can build more than we can sell. Incentives will go up. We'll have bigger day supply on the lot. Things are going to get back to
Normal.
I'd say a new normal, but more normal that we're used to than what it has been. The last couple of years haven't been normal. It's just not been, and it won't stay like that. You can already see it change.
Joe, it's an honor and pleasure to talk to you. We really appreciate that. And let me just throw this out there. We love Rochelle Salinas, and she is your ace in the hole, I'll tell you.
I totally agree with that.
Okay. Well, let's stay in touch. Let's talk again later on this year.
Absolutely. I'd love to. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you.
You bet.
Yep. Joe Chastain, HADA, Houston
guy.
Automobile
Yeah.
Dealers Association chair, who I've never met before. Great guy. Want to do business with that guy.
Imagine all the history
Yeah.
that he has, that he knows about.
Yeah, and a Houstonian as well.
Absolutely.
Time now for Conrad's Car Clinic. You got something cooking over there?
Does changing transmission fluid hurt my transmission?
No.
The answer is no. But does a transmission fluid exchange really need to be done? Well, I'll tell you yes. And I'll tell you yes because the reason why is automatic transmission fluid has primarily three functions. It needs to clean, it needs to lubricate, and it needs to cool. And when one of those functions stop working in the fluid, that's what leads to transmission failure. And so you want to make sure you keep fresh, new fortified fluid inside your transmission. Now, you had talked off the air about changing fluid in a transmission. I'm assuming you did a pan drop. And after doing a pan drop, most automatic transmissions hold 10 to 12 quarts of fluid. When you do a pan drop, you're replacing about 4 quarts of fluid. So you replace about a third of the fluid that's in the transmission. Mm-hmm. And the new fluid is trying to clean the old fluid, and it doesn't do a good job of cleaning the old fluid. So what happens is all of the solids that are floating around in the old fluid fall out in the pan and get sucked up into the filter and clog the filter.
It's like doing an oil change. All you're doing basically is you got to take the filter off and then leave the old oil in the pan and just top it off.
Right.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Or sucking it out with a vacuum hose.
With an enema hose.
So, to me, heat's what hurts transmission fluid. The transmission fluid is a hydrocarbon-based fluid. It's an oil, and the oxidation rate of a hydrocarbon doubles every 18 degrees above 180 degrees. So if they say your transmission fluid's good for 100,000 miles at 180 degrees, well, if you've got one of those cars where you can kind of push the button and read the transmission fluid inside your vehicle, well, you'll see in most instances when you're driving down the highway for any period of time, that transmission fluid is going to be something north of 200 degrees.
Wow.
So now you've immediately cut the life of your transmission fluid in half. So instead of it lasting 100,000 miles, it's really only going to last about 50,000 miles. So when you really kind of finalize the math on that, that's why I've always been a believer in changing your transmission fluid about every 30,000 miles, just to make sure you can keep that clear, clean fluid in there working, doing what it's doing.
Those increments are already in your manual, and they're already given to you on what to do when you buy the car.
And some manufacturers list transmission fluid in their maintenance schedule. Some don't. Some say never change the fluid.
Well, some of them you can't get to it to check it.
Well, you can't check it, but you can change it. You know, there's ways you can still change it. All transmissions have a cooler on them. So if you think about that, what they do is they pump fluid out of the transmission, in most cases, to the front of the vehicle, and then there's a heat exchanger inside the radiator. Well, that heat exchanger inside the radiator carries the transmission fluid and then back to the transmission trying to cool it. But if you think about it, what's a thermostat on a car anymore? About 210, 212 degrees. Yeah. So you're trying to cool your transmission fluid with 210 degree coolant. That's why this temperature going up is such an issue, and that's why you want to change your fluid on a 30,000 mile interval.
Yep.
Put a transmission cooler on the front of it. That'd do you some good.
Yeah, it would definitely do you some good because, and you'll see some people will do an aftermarket transmission cooler, an air-to-air, cooler.
Yeah, just stick it ahead of the radiator.
And drop that transmission fluid temperature even more.
So do you have that type of cooling ability on an EV?
There is coolers on EVs, but EVs don't have a transmission. They have a direct drive electric motor. But that electric motor needs to be cooled.
Right.
The batteries need to be cooled. So when you look at an EV, you may have 2 or 3 different cooling systems on an EV that need to be maintained.
Wow, didn't know that.
Speaking of which, despite electric vehicle tax credits and significant efforts to expand public charging, the share of new vehicle shoppers who will avoid EVs has grown over the past 3 months, according to J.D. Power. In March 21% of new vehicle shoppers surveyed said they are very unlikely to consider an EV, up from 19% in February and 18% in January. Buzz, are you listening? The percentage of shoppers who said they are very likely to consider an EV has remained relatively flat over the past 3 months, landing at 27% in March. About 34% of shoppers said they are somewhat likely to consider an EV, and 18% say they are somewhat unlikely to consider. EVs made up 7.3% of U.S. market share in March, according to the firm, down from 8.5% in February. Recent announcements to expand the public charging network by Walmart, Tesla, and others have not swayed resistors, according to J.D. Power. Poor charger reliability also creates EV reluctance, J.D. Power found, in that 1 in 5 public charging attempts failed last year. Oops.
Well, you and the Whole Foods.
Yeah, the Whole Foods place.
Yeah.
The charger didn't work.
Multiple chargers didn't work.
How can you do that? Here, take the electricity from here, run it through a meter, and put it out that hose to plug in your car. How difficult is that? Am I wrong?
Nope.
Yeah.
On the way back from the Hot Rod Tour, we stopped at Buc-ee's, and there must have been 40 Tesla chargers, at least.
But they're all Tesla.
They're all Tesla. And Kathy made the comment, well, what happens if you don't have a Tesla? Well, you either need an adapter or you don't use it.
Tesla has a very dedicated charging adapter to charge their vehicles. That's why Tesla has their charging stations out. There are people that make a conversion adapter.
That's exactly what we talked about.
I think those are a bit of a fire hazard from what I heard.
Anyway,
I
there was
don't
like
know.
maybe 4 or 5 out of a whole bank of charging systems. There's 4 or 5 cars.
Well, everybody's still learning about all of it.
But the gas pumps were lined up.
Yes, they were.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Time for a quick break now. Going to wrap up the In Will Time Car Talk Show after this. Stay with us.
Are you a car enthusiast? Come experience the 27th Annual Keels and Wheels Classic Car and Boat Show. Join us Saturday, May 6th and Sunday, May 7th at the Lakewood Yacht Club in Seabrook. This fun family event features vintage and contemporary race cars from Le Mans, Indy, Formula One, NASCAR, and much more. See classic and vintage boats of all types, not to mention American and European pre- and post-war classics. Pre-sale tickets are $30. Students are just $15. Children 12 and under are free. Purchase your tickets today at keelsandwheels.com.
Everyone at the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy, thank you for participating in the best cruise in around and look forward to seeing you again. You'll hear about the next cruise in date right here on In Wheel Time. Next time you're in the West Houston Energy Corridor area, be sure and stop in at the original Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex at I-10 and Highway 6 or the Katy location on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard. When passing through Beaumont or College Station, stop in and have Lupi's award-winning beef fajitas and frozen margaritas. There's always a celebration at Lupi Tortilla. Lupi Tortilla founder Stan Holt and his wife Sheila are winning racers on the NHRA drag racing circuit and have a collection of hot rods and classics that everyone appreciates. Look for them at the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In. The date will be announced soon and will once again be held at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex on 99 and Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 and Katy. We'll give you all the details right here on the In Real Time Car Talk Show and online. Donations benefit God's Garage. We'll see you then. You own a car you love. Well, why not let Gulf Coast Auto Shield protect it? Houstonian John Gray invites you to his state-of-the-art facility to introduce you to his specialist team of auto enthusiasts. We promise you'll be impressed. Whether you're looking to massage your original paint to a like-new appearance, apply a ceramic coating, install a paint protection film, nano-ceramic window tint, or new windshield protection called ExoShield, Gulf Coast Auto Shield is where Houston's car people go. Curbed your wheels? Instead of buying new, why not have them repaired? How about a professionally installed radar detector? Gulf Coast Auto Shield does that too. Get a peek inside the shop and look at the services offered by getting online and heading to gcautoshield.com. Better yet, stop by their facility at 11275 South Sam Houston Tollway, just south of the Southwest Freeway, and get a personal tour. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your place to go for all things exterior. Call them today, 832-930-5655 or gcautoshield.com. Well, that's a wrap for this week's In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. When you're online, check out our Facebook page, give us a like, tell your friends about us, and share our junk if you would, please. You'll get Konrad's unicorn hunting features along with all things automotive all week long, including new car reviews, upcoming events, cruise-ins, racing events, and other informative and entertaining car and truck goodies. You can find the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app. Hey, be sure and catch the In Real Time Car Talk Show on our live video stream on Facebook, YouTube, and InRealTime.com every Saturday, 8 to 11 a.m. Central Time. Daily 30-minute podcasts are available from over a dozen of the most popular podcast providers. The In Real Time Chief Engineer is David Ainsley. Our Marketing Advertising Advisor and Video Technical Director is We Need More, Jeff Zekin. For Booking Agent and Podcast Pumpkin, Mike Mars. Along with Mr. Know-It-All, his royalty, King Konrad DeLong. I'm not going to admit to it, but they call me Don Armstrong.
Yep.
Next week, we're live again, and that is going to be on May 13th, 2023, on all of our In Real Time Car Talk outlets right here on the Smoke and Mirrors Network, 8 to 11 Central Time. Have a great weekend. So long for now, everybody. That's it for this podcast episode of the In Wheel Time Car Show. I'm Don Armstrong, inviting you to join us for our live show every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our InWheelTime.com website. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Podcast, Podcast Addict, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Music. Keep listening, and we'll see you soon.